Welcome to another week out to GunPla and Chill. Still working on Deathscythe. Looking really good. I'm liking him so far. The camera doesn't show up, but let's go ahead and tilt back it. We can see those eyes there and everything. We're done with the upper body, the arms. Haven't cut out the hands yet, the fingers. Just kind of leaving those. Thinking we're gonna go with a couple different options tonight to actually work on. I'm thinking of jumping into the backpack and just finishing up the whole upper body tonight specifically. Getting that whole upper body piece done as well. I had decided fully I'm building the wings out for this guy. It's going to be cool, especially with the different color scheme. The colors that we are changing specifically are the red. The red in the wings here, we're going to change it to its kind of gray color that we see in the anime. So same thing for the rest of the backpack is going to be that same kind of gray color, which we've already got custom made. Probably won't get to painting it tonight. We're going to have to see what assembly looks like for the backpack in general. So it's going to be it's a new adventure per se, because we haven't had to work on these pieces before on any other Gundam. And so that's going to be what we're going to work on, but this is also going to give us time to work on the Buster Shield, which and thank you so much as well, Evo Mikey. It's good to have you back as well. Glad to see you can make it. So we're gonna work on the Buster Shield and the Scythe as well. The Scythe is super easy, and the great news about it is that it all has to just be fully painted. So there's like no real crazy focus for it. We're just gonna be basically clipping, cleaning, and then painting it. Probably not gonna paint it tonight though. Once again, but we are gonna. And especially because there's going to be a lot of custom painting for this, because in the anime all this yellow that we're seeing here in the Buster Shield, that's actually a silver color. So I got a good chrome for that, or steel color that we're going to paint that. And there's also a red cross across here, so there's a red cross on it, so this will stay red, but we're going to have to look at it. So this is actually, I'm going to show off what we did for the other Deathscythe Buster Shield specifically for it, to kind of match closer to the anime. Very once again similar build for many aspects, but this is our Buster Shield in this guy, and so we're going to match that color scheme. I did a little bit of weathering on it as well, so that's what we're going to kind of transform it into. And I said red cross. I was actually wrong. It's a yellow cross. So this whole center, that's why I made this whole center yellow, within these outer portions red, because in the anime it's a yellow cross on a red background, with of course this blue color taking care of everything else. So say hello to Deathscythe Hell. He's joining in, making a small appearance as we make his predecessor to go along with him. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get rolling on that backpack. And that backpack is actually all from the secondary guy that came with it. Bunch of different parts from part 1 of the model kit, and then we're going to attach it all together in addition to that. So this is what the final unit's going to look like in general. That's going to be all connected up to it. And then here we are. Going to jump into here. Some other, extra runners for this one. Some of these parts of the original, in addition to it. What I mean by original is the original model kit of Deathscythe. Go along with this as well. So jumping out with my tools. We're probably going to need to do just a little bit of sanding as well tonight. So I'm going to get out my god hands. Probably nothing too crazy. Mainly just for the scythe if we have any issues with cutting it out, because I do want to cut out the scythe as well. And the Buster Shield. And if you're building anything, of course, don't forget to post. I'd love to, hear what else you guys are building. There's our weapons piece, and you can see like the beam scythe is literally just one section in general. It's only 4 parts, just one really long one. Buster Shield's a little bit more in depth as well, but make it real easy for us tonight. Get a good showing, get those weapons done, and get working on those wings, especially that custom color. That's going to be exciting. To get rid of the sometimes I just wish that some of these kits just stayed true to their colors, because the colors that were put in the anime were pretty doggone awesome. At least that's my thoughts. And then, of course, the best way to get rid of nub marks is still to paint them. Still to paint them. Hide them that way, because even with all the sanding in the world, it's still going to show up, sadly. So we're going to jump in here. Clip these out. This past week, for everybody that didn't know, was Gundam Online Expo. Nothing really stood out for me as far as additional kits or anything that I would want to get from it. They're kind of re-releasing a lot of the ones that were out at last Expo. They sold really, really well. If you can get the Unicorn Real Grade, oh goodness, hold on, Unicorn Real Grade Perfect Ability one, that one's on sale. Last time it sold out as soon as it went live. It was gone immediately. And so I tried to get that one, but fortunately for Karama Toys, they offered it up a little bit earlier. And so another also really good find that I had out here on the internet was to find out for missing GunPla parts. So I have a Y Sanaju, which is a P Bandai kit as well. Fortunately, they re-released that one, which I was super stoked for. Unfortunately, though, I let my son play with it a little bit too much without gluing some pieces down. That one piece that's missing is part of the head. Pretty prominent piece, pretty important piece, and since it was lost, I thought life was over for Senior Sanaju Eyes. However, though, there was a spot on the internet where they are actually getting the parts, because you can technically reorder parts, especially if you're in Japan, super cheap too. It's actually kind of annoying that it costs us so much just because of the shipping portion, because you can get like that part or even a full runner for literally like, I don't know, $5 at most, and that's for a full runner replacement, even for the P Bandai kits. And so it was very depressing to hear that went that way. And so, but anyway, there's a site that you can buy them online, get them shipped over to the U.S. For yourself. The shipping is the most expensive part of it all. I really want to say the part cost me 60 yen, which, you know, if you look up the conversion, it's like 45 to 50 cents. It's super cheap to get that part replaced. And so they have the spare runners and the Bandai warehouse type deal, and you can actually order those online. You just need your model kit number, and so I will actually post that into our chat where you can get it as well if you're ever missing any parts or something gets broken. I'm not ambitious enough to start my own casting yet. I've always dreamed about it, but I haven't gone that far. But this one was a white Gundam too, so with it being a white kit, I wanted the original white piece. That's why I didn't even jump into that casting adventure here, in addition to that as well. So I am just cleaning up this. Yeah, it looks like we might need to do just a little bit of sanding. Most of it is coming off pretty cleanly though. And plus, once again, a good layer of paint. Yeah, like this part right here, we won't even see that with a good layer of paint. Oh, never mind. With a clipping like that, you will. Ooh, that was awful. So a little bit better that time, but it's still elevated up. My hands are super oily. I just finished making food for the family, and hopefully everybody had a good week. Hopefully you had a relaxing Sunday. If you're working, once again we appreciate you working. I'm sure once again you're working at a job that actually needs those hours on Sunday. I know I've had to work on many of Sundays of my day as well. Alright, we're going to sand some of this down. And really, once again, it's just super quick assembly for it. I'm going to get rid of these nubs as well, because I do not want them on my paper. Super easy assembly for this. And so I'm actually going to sand it once we see what it looks like together. for something that's not so complex, it looks really complex at the same time though, like when it's all assembled. So it's, once again, really good design. I really like these newer designed Gundam wing kits. They came out really nice. And so I'm excited to finish the whole set. And it's still overwhelming to think that I've got, like, I don't know, let's see, 8 more to go? Because I've got the Deathscythe, Heavy Arms, Sandrock all to finish up. And then I've got Wing Zero Custom, Sandrock Custom, Deathscythe Custom, Heavy Arms Custom, and Tall Geese 3. Oh, and Tall Geese 2, oh, excuse me, Tall Geese 1 and Tall Geese 3. Yeah, there it is. That's them all. And look, that's literally the scythe. It's done. It's super tall in comparison to like Deathscythe Hell. Here he is. Even with the wings out, we're almost talking about the same height here for this piece. It's quite long in general. So, but what I'm gonna actually pull our camera up a little bit more so we can see more of the work area. Especially because these wings are going to get pretty big, I feel like. Which is exciting. Which means also at the same time, I got to build another shelf. I'm really, really curious to see how you guys also manage all your Gundams. I mean, if you look at my background behind me, I actually have probably like 60 of them up there on the shelf, maybe a little bit less. And it's pretty full, especially when it comes down to these master grades. I really need a lot more shelf space, so I was gonna build like 5 more shelves for those to work. Just buying plank boards, cutting them up, and some good dimensions, and then from there just getting some easy wall mounts as well. But another like really quick way, especially if you want a floating shelf style, you can just use some super glue and some some flathead screws to kind of sit those in together, and then just screw those into the wall. Actually, I may even do that. So thanks for the idea, guys, to get that built up. So mentioned I'm going to do some sanding here. I'm going to actually shave this off a little bit first. It's always wise to not cut towards you. I'm a bonehead, so that's why I'm doing it. Reason why you just don't want to get cut with these knives. I have done that also way too many times. Maybe I'm kind of immune to it now. I haven't gotten cut in a while. And you know, as soon as I say that, you know I'm going to get cut, right? So maybe we'll just avoid the knife for the rest of the day. So not doing very hard sanding here. Once again, letting the sandpaper do the work. And don't worry about like any scratch marks or anything, because it's going to be covered up by the paint. It's amazing how like paint really just hides some things so well. This is going to be, I haven't showed this color off, but it's just going to be steel. Vallejo Mecha Steel, and it's a good solid color. It's a great color for weapons, especially like these big old thermal based weapons that you have, or any of them that have like small handles like beam sabers work great. As a matter of fact, Deathscythe Hell is also rocking that same color steel, so that's that color right there. And you can see it's a little bit off, but besides that, it looks really good together. And so just gonna go through the grits real fast here, get that cleaned up. My goal is to get this whole upper body together, and even having him holding a scythe here. So hopefully we can get that all done by the end of next week's episode is my end goal for you guys, to see that whole upper body. Especially because once we get the upper body portion done, Buster Shield, the wing backpack is well included. The legs are going to be super fast because they're almost all white. And same with the waist. The waist is the waist is only a few parts anyway, and we only got to do 2 colors there, so it's not crazy painting, not like the head was, or any of the other parts that we've already done so far. So we've really done, the hard work has been right here, especially the head. The head was, that was a lot of work to get those colors right. Alright, so we're clipped out there. I'm going to leave the scythe alone then for now, and I'm actually super pumped to get these wings started. So we got some extra runners here in the kit for them. And we get our I1s and I2s. Are all part of this project. Looks like we're going to be almost solo into the eyes across the board here. We're going to see, okay, so this is part of the original backpack. Yeah, but it's got a special unit piece right there with this I-19. And then, yeah, we got some of the already existing parts from the old one. So these, once again, oh, this is great too, because this is what I was worried about. These pieces we're going to paint these like that gray color. So it's going to be just a normal gray primer over, I don't know, bluish gray is kind of a good name for it, color. Which just the gray will cover up the red, and then the gray will take care of that from there. But it's just a nice snap-on piece, and yeah, it's gonna be nice and clean, and it looks like it just snaps on easily. So we can just cut that out, assemble it, look what it looks like together with the whole pack, and then remove it right afterwards, which will be fantastic for our build in general. So let's get started. We got a lot of duplicates tonight as well. Oh, Evo Mike, you got some panel liner going on now. Awesome. Yeah, so especially guys, if you're finished with any of your builds, drop them in the Discord as well. I'd love to see them as well. Give some not critique. I'd love to give comments on them in that sense. Or if you get like a picture to, excuse me, not a picture. Apologies. If you have like an imager or something that you want to share, Instagram, whatever the case is for your social media poison per se. I've thought of having social media, like an Instagram for this, but unfortunately, my friends sometimes I feel like are total douchebags. I started one up for my earlier postings, like my first few kits that I did, and they unfortunately jokingly made too many comments there that would just like ruin the community for it. And I was like, thanks guys, way to support what I've got going on here. So if anything, if I do start one, that's going to be a brand new page, and then I will let this community know because you guys are very interested in what we're doing here. Or hopefully you are. If you're not, then sorry. Hopefully you get some entertainment from this. So, Haas00312, welcome to the channel as well. Cleaning this up. I haven't done any research about why is there this Roussette unit, or if that's what it's called properly. So there's this Deathscythe Roussette is what this kit is called in the first place. But I'm actually curious myself, like where'd it come from? Why the redesign? I thought it was pretty doggone solid from the first part in, and why the extra equipment? And in addition to that. So because yeah, I think it was listed as that Deathscythe is actually the most popular American build, and so, which I thought was pretty interesting as well. There's so many other good ones out there. I've always been a fan of. I mean, I like Duo as a character, but always been my favorite. As soon as I saw it, was Wing Zero. Wing Zero just stole my heart right away. Dual Buster Cannons, just destroying everything. Taking all the punishment that it could, and then, of course, who doesn't love the Zero system in that instance? But yeah, it got this redesign with this backpack. It's not even like an armor backpack. It looks like it's aesthetics to me for the most part. Unlike the what is it? There's the Samrock Armadillo and the Heavy Arms Eagle. Eagle? I don't know. It's IGEL, right? We'll look at the hiragana for it later, or excuse me, the katakana for it later. But that specific piece, though, like the Eagle for heavy arms has like tons of extra missiles and helps with its mobility. The Armadillo, or excuse me, Armadillo, armor set for the Sandrock, which gives it extra armor, which is what it's known for in the first place. And so, still just wondering why the wings. Maybe it gives it better flight. Deathscythe does fight a lot in the air, it looks like, in some of this show. Especially in... I mean, it never goes back down to Earth once it gets into space, once again. Part of it because it gets blown up. So, sad moment. May Deathscythe rest in peace. The original. But I haven't run the manga. If anybody's ran the manga. And Evo Mikey, thank you for supporting my my fear of posting them on IG. I definitely have that exact same feelings there as you. But yeah, let's see where this goes. I think we're jumping right here. Kind of gonna soft build this specifically because we are gonna take some of these apart. And actually, it looks like oh yes, there's another part that goes in there. Good old yellow piece. Great, my favorite color to paint. If you guys didn't know already, I hate painting yellow. It's so hard. It's so hard to paint. Any shade of it. Pick a shade. Orange is not a shade of yellow, weirdly enough. But yes, like yellow, golds are tough colors to paint. They really are. I don't know why. Maybe it's the brand of paint. I should once again maybe I should try Tamiya for this one. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna take that back. Clear yellow is totally fine to paint. It paints perfectly. That's not too shabby. Looks pretty good there. I'm worried about the seam lines though. So yeah, we got some seam lines there. Yeah, especially that one especially looks sour. So what to do there? I'm not a huge fan of those type of seam lines because those aren't even hidden by paint. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of work to get those gone. These nub marks are there, yeah, and then we got seam lines all here. I was actually hoping that these will be hidden once we assemble more of it together, but I have a feeling that it's not gonna be. Have that feeling. So let's see where we're at now. Easy I3 gonna be on there. So this is just straight white. Fantastic. Love straight white pieces, especially because like this is such a pure white as well. You put a clear coat on top of that and it just, once again, it looks painted at that point, but it's really not. And so you'll see a lot of times other pro level builders, I'm not considering myself pro level at all, but some pro level builders will just, they leave the white and they just put like a top coat right over on top of it to really make it pop at that point and stick out. And so there we go. That's all cleaned up. I will send that one. That last little nub is kind of tough to see. It's tough to see in the camera, but it's actually not very pretty at all. So we're gonna sand that one down. Yeah. So top coats over white looks fantastic. Very easy way to keep your Gundams white nice and pure. Now, granted, there is some beauty to be had with painting white over a primer. And I will actually, I got a real quick one to show you though as well with that. It's another actually. Which one is it? I have a Gundam wing kit to show. Actually, I'll show two of them. I'll show white over a black primer, and then we can show white over a custom like darker gray primer specifically. Two different looks, but I absolutely love its layout. Especially because one of them was like for a super solid white Gundam, or mobile suit. This was for Toggy's 3 real grade. Toggy's 3 real grade is actually like just straight up pure white, and with some hints and spots of blue. So I was like, not a huge fan of just the straight white. Let's actually change up that color. So that sits nice and easy there. I guess this is, I'm supposed to be duplicating that in general. But just to show off what that looks like. So here's GPO1. I wanted him to look super grungy and dirty. That is a white paint, pure white, over a black primer. And you can see that we got some like weathering. We get weathering effects and some shadowing there with it as well, just depending upon how you airbrush it at that point. And so it really, really gives like a. I love the effects. This one came out looking really solid in general. Excuse me. Really solid in general with that color scheme. And then here's actually a Tall Geese 3. This is a custom gray primer, but to give it the white. And you can see same exact color, but they came out different based upon those primers as well. And they're both quite lovely. I'm particularly fond of the Tall Geese 3 and how it came out. I was actually even thinking of reproducing the exact same setup for the Master Grade. And then I thought, that's a lot of white paint. That's a lot of white paint. Because it is a lot of white in general. So, but if you do want to get a pure white on something that you don't already have a pure white on, my recommendations would actually be to go with a white primer, followed by a gray primer, and then actually paint your white on top of that. If you need to get that's once again that super solid white color over something. Trust me, there's been some trial and error with getting that combination down. I did a Sanaju Wise kind of real grade mix-up mashup per se, and I was paying white over red, so it took a lot of paint in order to get that the way I wanted it to. And I'm actually, surprisingly enough, repainting that kit now as well, just to get rid of actually that white, because it was so tough to paint, especially over red. Red is a terrible color to try to cover up. And so yes, I did white coat first, gray primer on top of that, and then white paint on top of that. I'm not using the right nippers. So it looks like most of this is gonna be hidden, but it's part of transformation, so it's tough to want to paint that. It's tough to want to paint this. So we're gonna see where this goes. Looks like it's gonna. Well, we got a lot more parts to do for it, so we'll stand off. Got an I-17 and I-21. Oh, this is now we're getting specific to one side or the other, so yep, there's our 17. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I'll show you what's interesting in just a second here. White on one side and our dark blue on the other side. Interesting. We'll have to see how these mend to determine how to paint it as well, though. So everything else has been like, hey, I've already built this portion, so we already know what they look like. But this is, yeah, new territory. New territory tonight. Evil Mikey, I'm curious, did you start on that Dynamis or did you start on that Curios? I know you asked which one you should go with next. Dynamis all the way was my option, so especially because that's one of the first ones that we see in the show itself. Alright, so that sits there like such. That one goes on first, and this is our second piece. Very interesting. They mend together just fine. Of course. Very interesting. So, does this slide out or anything? Nope, they are actually just holding in place. So we got this naturally occurring seam line right here. Oh, it looks like something's going to go right here though too, as well. Curious. Curious indeed still. So, Oh, we got a little bit more. We got a white nub right there. Ooh, buddy, what to do here? Ah, sometimes these parts stick together a little bit too tough. I actually have a small little tool for that. What is it? USA Gundam Store actually sells a metal tool. Obviously, I would say be careful with that one, just because metals does tend to bend the plastic sometimes too much. My idea is never force it. So if it's not coming off easily, find another tool that once again eases it off. Got a little bit of a nub right here, so I'm actually just using a higher grit just to get rid of it, and then gonna polish it up with the highest grit that I have, and it's all gone now. Might be hard to see in camera. Yeah, started that Dynamis. Ooh, excited to see that. So you know, Evo Mikey, I'm excited to see the Dynamis because you said it was no grade scale, so I'm excited to see it. I mean, I know there's a lot of no grade kits out there, and to me it's super misleading because like no grades usually have some awesome detail on there, like the no grade 1/100 Virtue, which is stupid expensive nowadays. Hopefully it goes down once Virtue Master Grade comes out. But yeah, it's got like some awesome detail there, so I'm excited to see it, see what that detail looks like. Don't forget to panel line it because that one's gonna have some. Once again, I'm excited to see that detail that it will have. So please share in the Discord when you get a chance, or when you finish it up. No rush, no rush, no rush indeed. Looks like we got two nubs there, but it's not. I saw that Hathaway's Flashes on Netflix. I now have what I'm going to do sometime this week. I'm super stoked to watch it. I I told my oldest daughter, because she was asking me if I was gonna watch it right when I found it, and I was like, no, not right now. So I was like, that's one of the movies I'm gonna watch with my sound all the way maxed out, where you're gonna be like, Dad, can you turn it down? I'm gonna be like, no. This is one of those movies that I just want to watch with max volume. When I mean max volume, with within reason. Within reason. All right, where are we at now? So I'm gonna put these back on for the time being. It still kind of boggles me, this color scheme. Like this whole split. Like, what are we doing? Two-Face here? Like, we're going Batman? So, interesting. Interesting. I may even just paint that white because I don't. We'll see. We'll see how the final piece looks. We'll see how the final wing looks in general before we commit to fully painting it. Oh, Evo Mike, if you just finished it, how was it? On a scale of 1 to amazing, where are we at? Because if I'm not mistaken, I read that it was the highest grossing anime in theaters ever, and then on top of that, it hit the #1 box office for Japan. Like outdid any other movie in Japan during its 2-3 month span while it was in theaters. Because of course Japan got it in theaters, which I'm super jelly about that one. It didn't get it. If it did get it in theaters in your area, awesome. It didn't get it in theaters in my area, New Orleans, so we are stuck with watching it on Netflix. But as long as they give me my surround sound, we'll be alright. We'll be alright. I need to hear all my blast. Oh, Evo Mikey, if it's the first one, we got some homework for you, man. We got some homework for you. Because we got Endless Waltz to watch. You've got the original Gundam Series 3 theatrical releases, which, by the way, are really, really good. Watch it in Japanese, though. It's not worth watching in English. The dubbing is absolutely terrible for that one. And I'm usually a fan of dubbing, as a matter of fact. But that one is just awful beyond reason. I really wish they would actually go back and redub it. And if anybody has heard that there is a redubbing, please let me know. I would love to watch that too. And then let's see, you have the Gundam Zeta or Gundam Z movie that is also was guess that one's actually really it's dubbed correctly specifically. So if you want to watch the dub version, by all means. It's got its three theatrical releases as well for it. Char's Counterattack. Char's Counterattack is pretty good. Big famous one. Big famous mobile suits in there. Sasasbi, New Gundam, some other ones. Gyaradoga. In addition to that, Jagadoga. Quest is in there. Terrible character, actually. I'm not a huge fan of Quest. If you are, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't mean to offend, but Quest is not a fun character for me. And then let's see what else we got. There's the F91 movie, but you probably can do without that. Ooh, no, Evil Mikey, that was a great place to start. Gundam 00. If you can get into Gundam, that's a really easy one to get you into Gundam. Gundam 00 is one of my favorites, and so I'm excited for that Master Grade Virtue to come out. That's the only Master Grade of it that I do not have now. Master Grade of the original 4, let me be specific there. Yeah, so this red piece that I was worried about how we're going to paint it is just a slide-on piece, so it'll be easy to take off and paint that. Be easy. And that nub mark looks terrible right there, but you know what? Painting it, you're not going to see it at all, because it is actually flat, believe it or not. It is flat, it's just, it got stressed with clipping it away. So, alright, I1 is our last one here. Seeing this design more and more, I don't know why this is white. I just don't get it. I don't get the overall appearance for that. So when you don't understand it, and you think it should be something else, Gunpla is freedom. Please never forget that. We're going to make it probably that navy blue. We're going to match it. In addition to that, though, we're going to... Oh, nope. Don't need to get rid of the seam line either. There's actually a panel line in between the two, so that'll be perfect. So this is actually difficult parts to sand without getting rid of some of the other detail. Oh, Evo Mikey, since you are watching Gundam 00, the Gundam 00 movie is interesting, is the words I want to use for it. So it's good. It's a good interesting. There's some great mobile suits in it. I actually would like to see. There's the oh my goodness, what are they called? There's the in the manga. There's some in between stories, between the movies and the final season 2 as well. And there's the secret mission movies. Excuse me, secret mission. What is it? Secret mission storylines though as well of the F Squad. Oh, no, they're not called the F Squad. Either way, it's the let's call it the Special Forces version of Gundam 00. I've actually got the 3 kits for that, and so that's Estrella F-Type, Cheridum. So Estrella F-Type is part of that, which is I absolutely love this guy. This guy came out super awesome, super grungy as well. Estrella F-Type. There's Cheridum Saga, which is the Gundam's Cheridum 7 Guns version, which is pretty sweet. And then there's the 00 Inspection G type, which they actually, or 7 Sword Inspection G. So Inspection G is the orangish red color, which I think is awesome as well. And then you have the 7, and it's 7 swords in addition to that. So it's a very awesome mobile suit. It surprisingly might be my favorite Gundam 00 suit. Inspection G, specifically Gundam 00. So, but there's a manga about their mission specifically as well. They are super exciting stories, really good stories in general. So, Right. Yeah, I really think that we're gonna paint this blue. I am not liking it being white, especially because the other side is blue. All right, this sits in there like that. Oh, oh, missed a piece. So we're actually gonna, especially because there needs to be some, what is it? We need to do some seam management for this. So actually, I take it back. Nope, nope. I give it right back to that. It yeah, definitely needs to have that seam management. You can see it pretty plain right there. I'm not happy with that seam. Paint once again won't cover it up. This is super visible, so we're going to do some seam management specifically right up on these pieces. And so this one though is particularly going to be hard to paint. Actually, to sand down right up in here. I actually, because this piece right here is going to make that very, very difficult. I'm going to have to get some special tools out per se. But these ones will be pretty easy. I already showed you got the sanding blocks for those. But that one, that's just such a narrow space. I think I have some low millimeters, but it's got to be merged together. I'm not a huge fan of what's going on there. It's still kind of a little bit too ugly for me like that. All right, so final pieces that go here for this wing is going to be I-13 and 14. So look at that, last two pieces on the runner itself. No doubt in my mind what's supposed to be there. And since we've got this side done, it's going to be really, really fast to go to the other one. Now that we know what we're looking at. I'm also very curious to see here, what do you guys do with your extra runners? Like, do you keep them? Do you trash them? So, I'm kind of in the middle mixture of both. I keep some and trash others. I like to keep solid colors in case I want to make a part for like a scratch build. Scratch build pieces, you can create parts, using those extra pieces of runners. So I'll do that. Keep solid colors. These multicolor ones, like the one you just saw, I pretty much always throw those away. Just too much on there. And so, yeah, and I try to, believe it or not, I know I told you about how we bought that piece, and even though I do some scratch building as well, yeah, I did not have any success trying to scratch build that piece for Sonaju Wise at all. Came out actually quite terrible. So it's just a hard piece to make with. It has too much. It's weird that it has too much detail. So we're gonna have to paint these separately. So it can be have the. This is actually gonna be some pretty intense painting overall. But it is a pretty doggone cool wing. Now that we look at it. So there's the assembled wing. It kind of does a couple different things. This comes out. This slides out as well. Goes like this. In addition to that, it rotates in that joint too. So I think it's supposed to be able to go like this in the back. Kind of get itself out of the way for when he's fighting. But it's got some pretty good bend right there if that's the full bend. But oh man, look at that. It just does not make sense. Like, why so much white right here versus that? So I'm interested. Do you like the navy blue side, or are you more the fan of the white side? Go ahead and post that in the chat too. Evo Mikey, your decision here may hold so much value to me. So much value to this Death Scythe. And for anybody else that's posting in here as well. Evo Mikey, that's what I do too. I do have a separate trash can for throwing away runners, because you never know, like, hey, I might want to dig back out that one runner that I just threw away. So Once again, navy blue side or white side. Where are we going to go with? So we're going to go ahead and start slightly disassembling this for painting. This needs to be, these are all going to be painted. My white is not going to be painted. If I don't get any more votes here soon, I'm just going to stick with the navy blue idea. Or I can paint them both white, but that would be hard. Hard per se, just because I would keep this white and have to paint this just the pure white, and they might not still be the same color. Alright, we also need to redo these bad boys. Alright, Evo Mikey, we're gonna stick with the navy blue. We're gonna make it navy blue for both sides. That'll make it real easy too, because I mean it's easy to paint over navy blue. I mean paint over white with any color. So alright, so I actually might have to get out my tools. So since I've done some phone repair stuff, I actually keep some of like my broken picks from it. These are super thin edged, which is great because it doesn't bend the parts, and since it's plastic as well, it easily bends it up as well. And you can see I got that piece off real easily with that. So I am going to, this is still going to be, oh wait, does that bend down? Yes! Oh, that is the best news I have gotten all night. Perfect. Perfect, and more perfect. So I'm going to throw this in here. You're going to see it just easily separates these parts. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pull these all off, because the rest of this just needs to be painted together as a whole. Oh, that is such good news though. I am super stoked that that came off the way it did. So this doesn't have any seam line repair that we really need to do. I mean, we can do one right there. It's not a very noticeable spot, but we're going to do it anyway. Because we all seen it now, so we're all going to know it. But this is going to stay together, as this is going to stay intact. Oh, we got another seam line right here as well. And so we are going to separate this out first. This one though is all hidden, so this seam line is completely hidden. But we're going to show you how to do some seam line repair. Repair per se. Make them solid. Make them solid. You can watch it on YouTube, but I'm glad that we have a chance here to do it live. And so even though we're only probably going to have time to do this one wing, especially because we have to do that, I'm going to go ahead and finish the other one though, so that way it's ready for our next episode to finish up with the rest of the backpack as well. So you can use, this is actually, I've taken the label off just because it's been used for so long. This lasted me for like almost a year, but this is just Tamiya liquid cement, and it's designed to melt down the plastic a little bit. But when you do that for parts like this, it allows you to then mend them together with its own self. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. I'm going to leave this yellow piece in here as well because it's all the same primer. When it comes time to painting, we can just easily, like this is just a straight line, so it's going to be easy to just mask that off. And then vice versa, we'll paint the yellow first, and then mask that off, and then paint the navy blue afterwards. And so we're going to do, you want to make sure you have your pieces lined up and ready to go in the correct format. So that's the format that it needs to be in. I've got this moved down for now because we're going to need to sand right up in here. And we're going to sand over here as well. So be careful obviously not to get these movable joints as well too with doing it. So it requires some precision here, but it will make a really big difference. So I'm going to, it's going to be very easy right here. Clean that up. And Eva, Mikey, that's super cool that you do phone repair as well. Gonna do it on both sides. And we're gonna do the same thing over here as well, both sides. Nope, doesn't need it there. I'm gonna go ahead and get that off before it gets started. And so we've already done one coat. Oh, there's another seam line, I missed it. Right here. And then we're going to do another coat of it as well. It really gets the plastic nice and loose so that it can once again be pressed together. You can, hopefully you can see it on the camera that it's starting to, it's a different color, different texture even now than it was before. And this is where it also becomes super imperative to have nice, straight, and flat sanding. Because these are seam lines. They're meant to be straight across each other. As that is the case, you want them to be flat. And so having that flat sandpaper that I showed you guys that we have earlier is going to be super beneficial. This is actually the whole reason why I bought them, especially with the high grade kits. It makes a really big difference. Alright, so I did kind of a impromptu third coat there. Probably didn't need it, but I did it just to be sure. I don't know if it got wet enough. Alright, so just being careful here. Last one. Speed is a factor here because these do tend to dry pretty quick. The thinner the adhesive, the quicker it dries. Yep. Push that one out. So press it as hard as you can at this point, because you want the plastic to merge with itself. So I'm really giving it a lot of squeeze. And then I'm actually going to do this as well. I'm going to go over it one more time on the outside of it though, just to make sure that that gap is nice and filled up. Because I think this is actually getting kind of, I might need to buy some new ones. This is actually thinning up a little bit too much. That's not pressing together as well as I like. Maybe it's because of the piece on the inside though too. But we'll see. I do personally like it to sit some time before I actually start sanding it, just to make sure the adhesion is good. But yeah, so we're getting there. It's not going to look like it's solid at first, so don't lose any hope. If it looks like, hey, my seam lines are still there, it's not until you start sanding it that you're going to see the big difference. But once again, make sure you get a nice flat sander. Yeah, my brush actually might be going bad on this. That's what seems like is going on here. My brush isn't putting out enough liquid onto it, or enough cement. Another method, which I also saw is really helpful. I don't have enough liquid cement for it right now, but you can actually get some of the leftover nubs, let it soak in the liquid cement, and then just using the brush and actually painting over, that's not the right word, but brushing over the parts as well, or the seams. And that actually, we might need to do that here, because yeah, that one indented in. I squeeze it as hard as I can once again. This actually might be better if we had a vise today. For that one specifically. So we're gonna get this other one here as well. This is another one that needs it. Oh, that snaps into place too. That's great. So you have to sand that down later. We are looking at this. Oh, I forgot how this sits actually. Let's see, once again we got this. Like that, that's for sure. Okay, there we go. Okay, that makes sense. Alright. This I'm going to do a little bit different technique this time because I want to make sure that it sits on its guide rails correctly. And we're actually going to have it just slightly opened and do the exact same process, moving this back and forth though as we drop it in. As we drop in the liquid cement. And so be careful. I mean, I'm going to be careful of this part though right here. Maybe actually drag this out a little bit as well to make sure I don't touch any movable parts, because if you mess up the movable parts it will eat away at them, which unfortunately is, well, unfortunately that can actually damage its moving functionality, and we are not looking to do that. I'm going to give it a third coat just because of how the liquid cement seems to be pretty dry, even though it's supposed to be clear and it is not clear. So I'm wondering if it's gone bad from way too much brushing and doing exactly what we're doing here. This one actually adhered really, really well this time though. I'm actually gonna zoom the camera in so you can see it. So this one actually adhered really, really well. We got some lift there in addition to that. And so right now, yes, it doesn't look the best, but it's not gonna look great and amazing until we actually sand it down. And so I'm actually still squeezing pretty firmly, giving it one more coat over it on the outside. Yeah, that adhered beautifully right there. If you have the lift in the plastic, that's exactly what we're looking for here. But this is the only part that actually needs to be seam line in this seam line repaired in this entire model. So that is a win. Now I have to do this a lot though with high grade models, like it's almost all the time. So that's why I bought that custom sandpaper. But if you don't, then just kind of leave it as is. So anyway, that is our show for the night. So we got our scythe done. We've got this entire one wing done. We're going to paint it all the navy blue here in addition to that. Oh, we mentioned we got a little seam line repair to do right here, didn't we? Actually, we'll finish that up and then we'll end for the night. Do the same thing right here. And it's mainly just this part. The rest of that's going to actually be covered. So smoke and mirrors, guys. Smoke and mirrors. Yeah, this one's going to adhere really good too. I can already tell by how the liquid's going in between the seams in the first place. Alright. One more coat, of course. And now we're going to press it. Timing is a lot of everything. Yeah, that adhered really, really good, just like I was thinking it would. This one adhered even better, which is going to be great. Maybe my fan is on too high in the room, so One more coat on the outside. This one's actually still got so much on the outside. When it has leftover on the outside like that, it's best to just use itself already at that point to just fill in the gaps. There we go. That's that. So now once again, I'm going to let these dry 24 hours before I actually start sanding them, so I'll sand them tomorrow evening. So no point in sitting there and looking to see if I'm going to go ahead and sand them. I'll have them ready, and I'll have both wings ready by next show. And then that way, once again, we're working on the jetpack, finishing up the buster shield, and we might have time to get some of that additional painting done for these additional parts here. Especially because they're just so big. So thanks for chilling with me this evening. This is actually also this Wednesday is going to be the first showing of Gundam Wings Day though as well. So dedicated to Gundam wing model kits, high grade specifically. Going to show some high grade techniques as well because those are different beasts, and so we're going to look at those different beasts together. Show you what I'm doing for those, and we're going to open up a Gundam Wings Day. So that way you're getting 2 streams per week versus just 1, in case you wanted to get some more, Gundam practice in and see what model kits we got going on. So for that, we'll catch you next time. Have a wonderful evening. Have a great week, and look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Take care and have a great time.